Welcome back to FC. We're going to talk all things Chelsea now for 5 minutes or so. Paul Merson, Jamie O'Hara, questioned whether a top manager would take the job at Stamford Bridge. Is it still as attractive as it used to be? Can they attract one of the best for a new project at that club?
He has a point, Paul, to be fair, because, you know, they have always attracted top managers and they've always gone for the best managers on the Roman Abramovich era. The project has changed. They are still an attractive football club. It's Chelsea. You know, we are talking about a team who are the current club world champions. You know, they are in an FA Cup final and they're having a terrible season, right? So they are still a huge football club, one of the biggest in the world. So, yeah, of course they can still get a top manager, of course.
But when you say top manager, go on, elaborate on that. A top manager. You know, they're not going to get a Luis Enrique, are they? They're not going to.
Why not?
Well, you tell me they are they?
Well, why not? I mean,
Luis Enrique had the pick of going to, say, Old Trafford, Stamford Bridge, Pep Guardiola's successor.
I know, but that's different, right? You're talking about Man City and Chelsea. Well, Man City are in a different spot, but you know, Chelsea can't. Chelsea could attract Luis Enrique. They could if they gave the right project. They spend £1 billion.
10 years.
Yeah, I know, but they spend £1 billion on players. They'll spend £110 million on a player.
Coaches in 10 years. You average a season at that club.
Yeah, I know, but that's because the managers haven't done the business, right? Luis Enrique, if you went in there, he'd do the business, right? He'd be there for a while. You have to change the manager because they haven't done the business. And their recruitment of managers has been shocking. It's been absolutely shocking. Like, giving Liam Rossini the job was just... That just makes me think, what are they thinking? What are they doing? Do they know what they're doing? Chelsea are a huge football club with top players who have got egos, World Cup winners. You can't put a Liam Rossini in charge. But you have to put a top manager in charge.
They're broken, according to Jamie Carragher. So how...
He's broken.
Well, how do you fix them? How do you fix them?
Get the right manager.
Simple as that?
Yeah, get the right manager. Yeah,
infrastructure.
Get the right manager.
But they're not getting a manager, they're getting a head coach.
Yeah, but listen, say they go and get IRAOLA, right? If they get IRAOLA, that's a top manager.
Yeah.
He's done it in the Premier League. He's a Bournemouth manager. He's ready for the next step.
Is he going to be a puppet?
I don't think he will. But I think the board have got to take a back seat a little bit, and because the project that they're going through or what they think they want to do ain't working. This project at Chelsea doesn't work. And you can keep trying to say it works. It doesn't work. So they've also got to learn and say, you know what? Maybe we need to take a back seat a little bit and let a manager take the reins and actually control the dressing room and control the team.
Let me just toss some names your way, right? Because Paul Merson's point, they can't attract a top manager. Are these top managers? Xabi Alonso, is he a top manager? Because he's the favourite.
Yeah, he's a top manager.
He's a top manager. He got sacked by Real Madrid.
Manager.
He won the league with Leverkusen and got sacked by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Is he a top manager?
Well, that ain't worked out for Real Madrid, though, is it?
IRAOLA, is he a top manager?
Yeah, he's a top manager.
He's managing Bournemouth. Is he a top,
He's managing
top
Bournemouth.
Of the tree?
Bournemouth for 6th or 7th in the league.
Cesc Fabregas, Xavi.
Cesc Fabregas isn't a top manager yet. Yeah. He isn't a top manager yet.
You know, Marco Silva, is he a top manager? Felipe Luis, is he a top manager?
Yeah, but...
These are who we're talking about.
Yeah, OK, but the other top managers are potentially not available, right? Carlo Ancelotti, Luis Enrique, you know, Thomas Tuchel. You know,
that's Merson's point, isn't it? You know, and I know I take your point that City is an extreme, but if City came calling, anyone would come, you'd think.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, Vincent Kompany, they could probably convince him to come back to Manchester City.
No, they couldn't.
No?
No. He's at Bayern Munich.
Well, I mean, you cut him in half, he bleeds Man City. But that's a different subject. Let's have a listen to this voice note from Darren on this one.
But unfortunately for everyone, it will be Frank Lampard, and it's going to be another huge mistake for everyone involved. But Frank will not turn it down.
I'll be surprised if they go with Frank Lampard again.
Third time lucky?
No, I don't think they'll do that. Listen, Frank Lampard's done a great job at Coventry. Amazing achievement again. And he is on, you know, a really good trajectory to be a top manager. And who's to say he might be the manager in the future again at Chelsea? But I don't think they would do that now.
You don't think he'd go heart over head in that scenario?
Well, he would.
That's his club.
Well, of course he would. He would take the job, of course.
You don't think they'd offer it to him again?
I just don't... Well, I don't know what they're thinking, right? They gave Liam Rossini the job, so maybe they go with Lampard, but...
Is he a top manager?
Who?
Frank Lampard.
He will be a top manager. You know, he's done a really good job at Coventry. He will be, and he's becoming a top manager, but he's still early on in his career. Liam Rossini could be a top manager. We don't know, because he come in... The job was too early for him. But Chelsea need a top manager right now who's been doing it for years.
They're turning managers into memes. You know, we had a Chelsea fan on yesterday saying one of the biggest mistakes is sacking Thomas Tuchel. They sacked Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I know, but they are mistakes that they've made, right? the Chelsea hierarchy have made so many mistakes in terms of, you know, getting the right manager on board and the project that they want. And, you know, the Liam Rosenior one was just ridiculous. It really was. And everyone could see it apart from them. So
They'll be dangerous next season, Chelsea?
Look, Arsenal, Chelsea need the right manager. Get the right manager in charge. And they're still Chelsea, right? Come on.